Aatrox, it feels like PK does well on both.
Okay, we'll see. Casters, take it away. Get us into this game.
Thank you very much, Shocks. We are about to get into GRX versus Bachesha here. Supermassive. 6 teams have had their fates sealed here in the play-on knockout stage, 3 with wins and 3 with losses. And we'll find out who will get that final win here between GRX and Bachesha here. Supermassive. I'm Rivington III along with Isaac, Azael, Cummings, Bentley, and we are back on the attack for some League of Legends.
I'm excited, man. Should be a good series. GRX really did, I think, impress a lot of people throughout the group stage. 4-0, their record in that. Supermassive, I think, coming into this pretty heavy underdogs, especially after their last 2 games against G2, showing a lot more weaknesses than they had kind of earlier on that first day of group stage. So we'll see if they'll be able to shore any of that up, but I really do like to see the Urgot ban already. We have seen this champion just absolutely dominating in the top lane, and I think that fabFabulous has not been performing nearly to the level of PK, so you want to eliminate that, put it into a tank versus tank matchup, and try to kind of neutralize that lane.
PK's regional play on the Urgot was absolutely disgusting, really manhandling the game all by himself. We see the Aatrox also banned out from Supermassive's side with the Syndra.
I think this is really smart. You know, we saw what their last 2 games looked like against G2. Wonder absolutely was destroying fabFabulous in the top lane. You know, the Urgot and the Aatrox really have been those go-to carries that people are playing. As Wonder said in his post-game interview, yes, you can play squishy carries, but they're kind of more on the lower played end compared to these sort of bruisers and a lot of the tanks. So I am expecting to see more of a tank versus tank matchup in the top side, which could neutralize some of GRX's advantage there.
We'll have to see if fabFabulous can begin to step up. As our first picks come in, it is the Xayah for Stitch. Before this game, 4 unique picks. That Xayah will be a repeat for him, as the Raknan is separated from that Lovers duo by Supermassive in their first pick.
And one of the things that's been so impressive about Stitch throughout the play-in is how aggressively he is playing. He has a massive forward percentage.
Incredible. Over
40% forward percentage, playing on his opponent's side of the map. He's getting almost no help from Empty, and he is coming up with massive CS advantages, massive pressure advantages, and he's been able to really show up in the team fights as well. And this is certainly a rising star from the LMS.
And he also has quite low depth for that high forward percentage too. So eyes on Stitch for this game for sure. Up against Zeitnot's going to be a big one. Empty locks in the Gragas. This guy has had an incredible Worlds run so far. No deaths until the final game versus KLG in their first one. So he is absolutely just going the long haul for this, and he's going to try to be big out of the jungle for GRX.
Yeah, he's been fantastic on the Gragas, and already you can see how much engaged they are locking in here. GRX want to be able to play an aggressive game, want to be able to pick their moments for the fights. With the Gragas and the Alistar, you will certainly have the opportunity to do that. But likewise for Supermassive, Snowflower on the Raknan. Snowflower has been incredible for the team, and putting the ability to engage in his hands, I think, is a really good option. fabFabulous on Sion, which is probably the most stable laning phase of any of the tanks. That's hard to exploit there. And Zeitnot on a late game carry. I think both teams really are making some intelligent choices.
What can Snowflower get with Zeitnot's Kaisa? That Raknan Kaisa lane could be pretty aggressive against the Alistar and Xayah. We'll have to see. I'm excited to see how second phase of bans plays out, with it being able to focus towards the mid lane. GBM's been having some trouble, mostly going towards the utility picks. The Zillion, the Galio worked really well for him. That Candy has just kind of been able to use a varying champion pool that has a big impact on the game.
Yeah, he really has, and I'm going to be excited to see where they decide to go, taking away the Aurelia, taking away the Yasuo. You know, even though the Yasuo was kind of hovered earlier by Candy, it would actually make sense for him, you know, with the Gragas and the Alistar to set that up. So I think that's a pretty intelligent ban. Aurelia, another very aggressive pick that they could be looking at. I'm expecting Stomaged to probably lock in his jungler here, save GBM's pick for last. That is traditionally what Supermassive likes to do. GBM has an enormous champion pool.
What would you like to see there?
From the mid lane, we're gonna have to see what the mid lane comes through for Candy first, I think, and then you know, look for GBM to try to go for a counter pick. I do think that GBM has not performed to the level of Candy throughout the play-in, so getting him a strong matchup there in the mid lane could really be key to having a second winning lane. And you know, if you can be winning in the bot side with Zeitnot and Snowflower, they've shown the capability of doing that on their own. If Stomaged can put GBM in a position where he is then winning, you certainly can play through that mid and bottom side of the map toward Dragon.
Possible pick of Zoe here to go in the hands of Candy. Ornn is locked in for that top lane PK. fabFabulous has done much better tank versus tank in the matchups. If you think about it as a tank versus a Kali matchups, he's down 30, 40 CS. The tanks are a little bit closer, but still down 10, 15 CS. Still a bright spot there for fabFabulous to be in the tank v tank.
With the Cassio coming through, I wouldn't be surprised to see an Orianna here from GBM. I think that's a pretty stable pick to help round out the composition. Some more protection for Zeitnot. It also is a fairly good matchup into the 1v1 against Cassio.
Yep.
If you want to go more extreme, though, we have seen things like Felkaz and even Xerath come out from GBM in the past that are a good matchup, but Orianna makes sense, and he's going to lock it in.
Fantastic. Compositions look great for both teams and the style that they want to play. We see Koala getting his Alistar for the initiations, empty on that Gragas that he's had so much pressure on, and Snowflower on something that he can make the plays on. Stomaged, somebody I have marked down as the initiator of the team. This man steps forward. In this case, it's going to be flashing forward to impale. You will see SuperMassive behind him 100% all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be some explosive fights. I think that GRX certainly will have more of an ability to play aggressive in the early game. I tend to favor the ganking power there of the Gragas pre-6. It is harder to really get involved for Skarner before that level 6, before you get the Fracture ultimate, but a lot of team fighting power in both of these squads. You have the hyper-scaling marksman, you have tanks in the top side, tanks in the jungle, kind of more of the supportive style of mid laner there for GBM, but Raknan plus Orianna gives you incredible amounts of engage, and I think this is a really intelligent draft for SuperMassive coming into this as an underdog. Play through your bottom lane, draft to empower them. Tank jungle, tank top, supportive mid makes a lot of sense when their bottom lane has been dominated.
Make sure top lane can get through safe and try to avoid giving Stitch kills. Ladies and gentlemen, the TCL's Bachesha here, SuperMassive. Their first appearance here at Worlds, and they look to make it to the main stage, but they're also going up against the first-timers here from the LMS. In the 5th place from the regular season, GRX pushed through the regional qualifiers in amazing fashion, and both teams now find themselves with the possibility to be one step closer to the Summoners Cup. We're about to be on the rift for another best of 5. It's GRX versus SuperMassive.
It's gonna be a good one, Riv. Would be such a massive victory for SuperMassive if they were to get through.
It'd be incredible, Isaac.
You know, they have never made it to that Worlds group stage, never made it through the play-in. They fell short at both the last 2 MSI play-ins that they participated in, and GRX here likewise wants to show the strength of the LMS region. There's so much talk of Flash Wolves and then everybody else. And people really do feel like usually the 2nd and 3rd seed in LMS are not nearly as powerful. And last year going into Worlds, the 3rd LMS seed was actually knocked out in play-in. So GRX, you know, coming here, trying to show that their region still has that strength. It's not just about the Flash Wolves. These other teams are also here to play.
When you look at what you've seen from people like fabFabulous in those international events, when he does somewhat perform, and that's why we're saying this kind of is an underperformer for fabFabulous. He's the one to make the initiations, be that big rock the team can get behind. So I'll have to see him doing a bit better in laning phase to get that play back out of him again. That's where he's really been falling behind. Just a little bit of back and forth to start things off as vision wards are placed in the pixel brush, and we're off and running. Same start on the side of the map for blues and reds, as empty will be on that top side as well.
Yeah, the early game for SuperMassive really has been a pain point, and it's kind of crazy. You know, at 15 minutes, SuperMassive throughout the play-in stage was averaging down 879 gold at 15 minutes.
Right.
691 of that is just fabFabulous in his individual matchup. So he has been massively behind very consistently, certainly in part to the fact that he had to go up against Wonder 3 games, you know, and that is really going to be tough because
that, right?
Wonder has been one of the best performing top laners in the West, if not the best Western performing top laner. You saw that at Rift Rivals as well, how well he played against the North American teams. So, you know, that is part of it, but he really does need to step up his game. At the very least, you want to be someone who can lose gracefully, who can neutralize lanes.
Absolutely. This is kind of very unknown territory to be behind this far in games for them. Coming out of the TCL, SuperMassive, #1 in a lot of categories, ahead in the league and just winning overall. So you think, hey, we came from basically a Challenger Series team in 2017 to blast back and be doing this kind of thing. So they, yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and that's the adjustment that a lot of teams, you know, not just the TCL, that a lot of teams from a lot of regions have to make as you're moving in towards Worlds. You're playing against a higher level of opponent. you know, when you're going up against these incredible teams from other regions, sometimes some of the habits you've learned in your own region can kind of bite you in the butt
really
a little
do.
bit because, you know, these guys are better at punishing small mistakes.
Well, we'll see if GRX can find those mistakes. They've had the stronger laning phase. They kind of may be resting on those laurels right now and saying, we don't have to do too much. Stomaged says, I am going to get a little bit of information here. Start the back and forth and start to harass Empty in his jungle.
Yeah, Empty missed that smite by about 2 HP, but Stomaged had backed off, giving him that respect. And I think he maybe could have pressured a little bit harder, but his bottom lane wasn't all the way up to the turret just yet.
Quick entrance by Snowflower. I do like that as well. GBM kind of had the lane advantage onto Candy to start things off, so good by Stomaged to get aggressive. This is going to call back the bot lane just a little bit, and Snowflower has that entrance first.
And this is big because Stomaged has his smite, Empty does not. So 4 men coming in here, 4 Supermassive, and going to be able to take away the red buff. Yeah, that is very well done. He may have actually, you know, been saving that smite intentionally, trying to force it out on the Raptors so that he could guarantee that steal of the red. And with a pushing mid lane, with bottom lane shoving up.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Looking good for fabFabulous. Flash is still up for him, but he could be followed by PK here, looking for that volcanic rupture. One last hit, and he gets it on the Q.
the solo kill for PK. You can ban him out, but in the tank versus tank, 4 minutes in, fabFabulous goes down.
Man, PK in my old games used to stand for person killer. He is throwing it down. This is not a PvE zone. You are in danger in that top lane.
Yeah, fabFabulous is not going to feel too good about that one. When the pick and ban was designed to remove these carries from the top lane, was designed to try to stabilize that matchup, PK still finds a way. Woo.
So flashes are down top side. That could be traded back on a PK if we see Stomaged going top, but he's trying to hustle Empty on the bot side of the map, figure out where he is. So they were hoping fabFabulous had no problems to start things off. PK's feeling good. He will be able to craft in lane and keep himself there for a little bit longer to soak up some minions. Great start here for the side of GRX.
Yeah, it really is. He's got himself that catalyst, and we'll be able to clear out this lane, and certainly not going to miss too much there. One positive for fabFabulous, he's at least not down too much in the farm department, and as these guys do get tankier and tankier, it's harder to really kind of go for those kills and to really push in, as Sion is one of the tanks that has very strong wave clear. Stomaged moving up towards the top side, but with the zone, he should be able to fight Empty. Empty's got to be a little bit careful.
Almost down to half health on that. fabFabulous doesn't want it with Candy's rotation up, and a missing Koala on the roam right now, out of the pen.
Yeah, the nice rotation there. GBM had gone back to base, so Candy threatening the roam over means Stomaged has to give it up, despite the fact that he probably could have won with control over that zone. And we can see PK back to base. He's going to just TP straight back in. Doesn't actually wait till he gets that much mana back, so a little bit low on the mana on the TP return, but really wanted to try to get back and I think actually try to stop fabFabulous's base, so he is going to be able to do that, and that's fairly nicely done.
Keeps getting pushed in by fabFabulous, so he's farming under the turret. The mana's not too important. And Empty says, I'll leave you alone on the top side so far. You're doing great. Heading down towards bot, a little bit of vision control over Dragon is being fought for right now, but it looks like everybody's going to make it back down to the bottom lane. Safe and sound. Just 1 kill in this 6.5 minutes so far.
Here comes
Gets
Empty.
a little sketchy for Stomaged. He's forced to flash. Now he's going to get locked up a 3v1. Snowflower's forced to run, and GBM can't help. 2 kills now for GRX.
Beautiful engage there. Koala is lying in wait in that pixel brush, knocks him straight back into Empty, and even though Stomaged flashed out of there pretty quickly, the body slam flash comes through from Empty. They get another kill, and GRX, their map movement has been very, very good. Despite the fact that Koala is always out of lane, they're also winning on the bot side. So Stomaged, face check this, knock them back into Candy. Empty comes over, body slam flash. Very nicely executed there from the GRX 3-man squad. And
it doesn't stop there. Koala with a nice headbutt into the wall as well.
Oh, they got the
stun on
root!
Snowflower. He gets himself grand entrance out of the situation as Zeitnot's trying to fire back in. Koala stands tall to get the relics back to Stitch, and now they can easily take a 2v2 push if they want. It looks like they'll just be happy with that advantage for now. SuperMassive has quite a bit to think about in every lane now.
yeah, I mean, when their bottom lane is losing as well, that really has been their point of power. They are behind in the bottom lane. We saw Koala make a roam up to the top side scuttle. He made a roam towards mid lane there and picks up a kill, so he has been very active out on the map. PK picking up his own advantages up on the top side, and You know, Candy even getting involved in that mid lane skirmish, getting an assist for himself. So really, GRX making things happen, but this is level 6 on Stomaged. He could go for it.
Flash is down. He's going to have to get the smite in if he can, but he's short on that and the fracture, so no slow for Koala as they were looking for him before level 6.
Yeah, not quite able to get in range for that slow, and he had no flash because of the death in the mid lane, because Koala made that roam. Not only did he get the flash, he gets the kill. So Stomage's level 6 gank is that much weaker as a result. Had he had level 6, that's probably a dead Alistar, but does not, and not going to be able to actually convert on anything for now.
It's definitely what you want out of a Skarner. Impact plays at 6, and he's going to try to rinse and repeat. Grand Entrance just missing, alerting Koala and Stitch to a play. As they get a little more vision on bot, Koala's going to think, we need some of that too. And he will deny and pick up some good old vision score. Things are starting to even out here in favor, I say even out, but go in the favor of GRX, just how they wanted it. Favor of CS a little bit, and kills to Koala. These will start coming to Stitch very soon with the amount of pressure they're seeing.
Yeah, definitely. Stitch has been playing fairly passively. You know, they've been basically trying to push out the lane and then back off so Koala can roam for vision and look for plays. And PK has that ultimate available. Here comes the horn.
Horn early. Stomage tries to stop this one.
Flash.
Easy flash from GBM, gets him out. Stomage would have been there for as well. I think he would want to try and get on that gank. He has been having trouble.
Yeah, I think that's a smart flash, though, from GBM. If you don't flash, you will get miasma off the knock-up, and then you're not going to be able to flash out of that afterwards, so certainly a potential for Candy to burst you down then. But Koala is here, I think, again. It looks like, no, it was empty, my mistake. Koala down still in the bottom lane.
You think it would be, he's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, flash down, though, on GBM means there's certainly the potential to actually attack this once more. If Koala can get out of lane, he has that flash available to come up and look to actually attack GBM here in the mid lane.
And you have to consider how hard it is right now for SuperMassive to even try and stop what's happening. Now that PK has a lead, now that Koala and Stitch have a lead, everything's been going to Candy. We just saw PK mid. Koala's been mid how many times now? They're saying, all right, we're feeling good. Let's funnel this now into mid. They're trying to get everybody on the same page.
And that's really how they have liked to play throughout the play-in stage, despite the fact that Candy and PK have been having good games for themselves. You know, and Stitch has been dominating in lane. It's really been about the mid lane for Empty. He has been focusing most of his attention on getting Candy ahead, on playing around him, getting vision around him, you know, non-stop ganking and attacking that. Because his bottom lane really has been winning the 2v2, so for Empty, it's more about isolating that 2v2, controlling vision around the 2v2, saying, all right, I'll keep you safe from the jungler, but that's all the help you're really going to need.
PK trying to stay in the face of fabFabulous here. Fab's teleport is up, and this control of Mountain Drake is definitely some tempo and momentum the GRX start putting on the game. They have so much vision. 3 pink wards already down here. It looks like they might try to get back to Dragon before it goes down, but take this time to reset for a breather.
Yeah, and that vision control is really nice from GRX because, as you said, you know, SuperMassive has the TP advantage right now, so they would love to make a play around the bottom side, utilize fabFabulous's teleport, but when you don't have the vision, it's very hard to just kind of blindly walk in there and try to execute that play quickly enough, so it's very likely that PK will have his teleport before SuperMassive can really make anything happen.
When we look at a little bit of the proximity Stomage has put down here, Stitch himself is a 6% jungle proximity from that man Empty. Because Koala's always running up. We've already seen Stitch by himself in lane. This guy has been playing so well. And he's staying even versus what was that 2v1 so far. So this Xayah could come up quite big for them once he gets those first few kills into that first core item.
And that's why it's insane, you know, when there's not the attention down there, his support's roaming away, that he's averaging 14 CS up at 15 minutes.
Right.
You know, that is extremely impressive. And again, you know, we're approaching 12 minutes in. He's already 14 CS up, and here comes the engage.
Quick charm from Snowflower. Candy's able to make his way out as Empty goes in. Nothing sticks for the attack to follow through, though.
Yeah, the body slam flash was good from Empty, but it looked like Snowflower was still in the quickness.
Right.
So when he hits the body slam, he is charmed up and cannot follow through with the explosive cast.
Just
so
a big kiss. Good
attempt, but certainly SuperMassive going to come out positive on the play. They got Candy's flash and Empty's flash there for just that of Snowflower.
Definitely great if you're playing against that mobile Cassiopeia. Shockwave's more likely to hit now if you can get your Skarner in there as well. And we'll see if Stomage decides to hover around that mid lane. Already making his way down. It will be a pink ward for his side. And They know vision is clear, but it looks like it might be a dive towards bot. Zeitnot getting pushed out of turret. His Unbreakable Will goes down, and Koala is trying to hold the defensive line right in front of SuperMassive's turret. They are going all out right now for these kills.
Yeah, well handled though by the SuperMassive bottom lane, able to actually use the Kaisa ultimate to jump back behind the Alistar, and out of danger though, so very well played by Zeitnot and Snowflower to survive. You can see PK cheating back down here towards the mid lane. But GBM is being very respectful of this. They know he's missing it.
Yep.
GBM is waiting behind, back almost to his tier 2 turret.
It's gotta feel bad. Usually as an Orianna, you're kind of, you move the ball around in lane. You get to place it and say, no, I'm the one that gets to stay as Orianna. But this time, GBM is getting pushed around quite a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, they're doing such a good job.
Things are sinking in. Gonna throw on the Petrifying Gaze right for the turning. Turret's back in. Oh, he gets the heal for the turret damage bait. Here comes fabFabulous. Turns it in. Xayah Speedway just missing. And Candy's gonna be able to fire back with the Fangs. A nice try, but SuperMassive continues to come up short.
Yeah, Candy was about one Twin Fang short from killing GBM there. I wonder if he could have actually stayed in to get that. It may have resulted in giving over a counter kill, but either way, great pressure here from this Cassiopeia on the side of GRX, really making things happen there in the mid lane. The team has been helping him out a lot, and now he is kind of making good on that effort and really getting a lot of pressure in the mid lane. And you have to remember, this was the counter pick for GBM. He got that 5th pick on the red side. He chose the preferential matchup, and it's Cassio who's dead even and has been having the pressure.
Koala still moving, denying vision everywhere. They know GRX is coming down through the river, so they won't be surprised in bot lane, but even setup wards like this in the lane allows now Stitch to know what's coming in if he has to be left alone. So many things are kind of being put that one step ahead here in the mindset for GRX so they can get more out of this game. Coming up now in 15 minutes, we do see that lead still in favor of Stitch. PK has gained quite a lead as well over fabFabulous, two of the things we thought we would see. But it is GBM kind of holding steady in that mid lane if he could start making plays once the teams get together.
Hey, I've got to say though, for SuperMassive, it's really not all that bad. Top lane has stabilized. Yes, there was a solo kill there, but this is not a carry versus carry matchup. It's really hard to actually snowball that out of control as a Ornn into a Sion. So things are fairly even up there. The Orianna versus Cassio. He almost did damage. Wow. The Orianna versus Cassio is pretty even. And while Zeitnot is behind, and they are kind of behind on pressure, they have been giving up the minimum, and we know how good Zeitnot and Snowflower can be in those team fights, how powerful the engage is going to be with Sion flying in. The Raknan engage with Shockwave on top of that. So certainly SuperMassive are going to have their opportunities when it comes time to team fight.
Wards just plays. Koala just has a sixth sense for where all these are going down, or at least being in the right spot at the right time. And they're making sure they always have that river control. Anything for Stomaged to get back down, shut down Stitch, stop any of this snowball. Is really having a wall put up by GRX. And they just have everybody in the river right now baiting out a fight. Almost gets the flash out of Stomaged as the explosive cask just to the right.
Yeah, good flash out there from Stomaged, but nice job as well from Empty. And it really has been this battle over vision control in the river. GRX has been trying to non-stop control this, but Stomaged has the Predator prop. Looks like he wants to get a fight, but
if only
GRX are backing out.
If only flash. Koala's going to be able to get out even if he has to headbutt to a forward minion. And they slowly walk out of this one, but they are just kind of able to tempt the fight oh so easily. Call the bluff if SuperMassive wants to come in and go back to farming. So really pulling SuperMassive out of their laning phase, being a nuisance, and GRX can keep pace of the game.
Yeah, both these teams are really trying to play around that vision in the river to protect their bottom lanes, to try to isolate those marksmen and allow them to get their own advantages here. And GBM has the blue buff. Catch him with Shockwave.
We were wondering when it would hit. GBM finally going in. Here comes Snowflower, gets the flash, the grand entrance, and a charm. He does pick up the kill as well.
Snowflower with a screen away engage there. The follow-up was insane onto Candy. They're going to get first turn off of that Riven. What a play from Snowflower.
GRX making moves all across the map, but never fully biting down. After the attacks with GBM's push towards mid lane, that was able to activate mid and first turret down. Quite a bit of gold here for lanes that may not have had that clip they were wanted to be farming at. Quick change of pace, and Koala could go down here. He gets head bumped out on GBM. And a few more attacks. No, it's the flash! That only got worse.
Oh.
And Koala now goes down. It seems like that play itself has really shaken the foundation of GRX. They're not any means out of it. But here we have your Acer Predator replay to see how it all went down.
I really hate to see that happen. And GBM starts it off well, hits the shockwave, and then look at this engage range. He jumps to GBM. The ulti is already up. The flash grand entrance there.
If you
getting
blink,
to him, you got into him so fast from across an entire screen, and insult to injury, seeing Koala get caught and go down afterwards. Also wasting his flash there, failing it over the wall. As we talked about, GRX has put so much emphasis on getting Candy going in this mid lane, on helping him out in the mid lane. And off of the back of that one play, GBM gets a kill assist and a first turret.
Snowflower gets himself out. The explosive casts are just coming up short, but Empty's really just creating a lot of pressure with them. First hit of Ornn hits. That's a flash from Zeitnot. Is 3 members ready to go for GRX on Zeitnot on the top side. He'll start to pick up some help from Snowflower now, and GRX starts to switch the map. Should see PK head down towards the bottom side.
Yeah, these flashes not being available have been so critical. Like, time and time again, we're seeing a flash forced and then a flash not there to actually execute on the following play. You know, had Koala had his flash available up there on the top side, he could probably flash follow and combo Zeitnot, and they could probably take him down there, but in this case, not able to do it. fabFabulous is pushing out on the bottom side, which means PK has to then get down there and answer that wave. So SuperMassive holding strong, now up 1,000 gold, and looking good in this first game. I think they really have cleaned up their draft and are playing intelligently around their strong point, which is that bottom line.
The draft is definitely one of the big things. They came out of losing lanes right away. fabFabulous with the ultimate, trying to do a little defense on Rift Herald here. He's just putting himself in between them and the objective. A nice job by SuperMassive. First turret, Rift Herald as well. GRX seems to now be kind of considering where we get in next instead of being in the front of the game like they were at the beginning.
Yeah, and it's a good job to secure that Rift Herald, but I will say, I don't love the trade if you actually lose your bottom turret to get a Rift Herald, because that bottom turret is very low, and it will barely stay alive from that minion wave, but the Rift Herald is basically like the potential of getting a turret. It's not guaranteed.
Whoa, huge damage on the Candy. There's no way he's getting out alive here. Flash still down. 40 seconds on the clock for him. 3-2 now as SuperMassive continue to find picks on the map.
Yeah, Candy had no vision there and no business face checking that brush. Finds a Scorpion, and Stomaged says thank you very much for the kill. GBM grabs another one, and GBM now double spell pen items, has the Luden's Echo, and he is really off to the races.
Played power in the lane, and that's what they needed. Now he can start hitting the shockwaves. And now he can start making the plays. He's getting a little more pressure from Stomaged in that mid lane now. It was focused towards Zeitnot and Snowflower. That's where we thought it would be coming in. Sometimes you got to play reactive, and so SuperMassive has made the right choice so far. 20 minutes in to kind of shift the power towards mid lane. PK still very big on that Ornn for GRX, and we have not seen a big teleport fight from these top laners yet to come in anywhere on the map. There's so much to be seen from these two teams. We're just scratching the surface of this first game of the series.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, most of the play has been centered around mid lane, but it has been buying time for Zeitnot to just be constantly farming up. He's nearing that Rage Blade here, and when he hits Rage Blade plus that Storm Razor on the Kaisa, he's going to be at a very, very strong point in the game with multiple people to shield him, with multiple frontliners. He's going to have a lot of safety there.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Certainly, if Snowflower can dive deep with that Orianna ball and get a shockwave, you can even follow up with that Kaisa ultimate and act as a dive buddy. So there's a lot of ways for SuperMassive to play out these team fights, and GRX is going to have to be very careful, but they have, you know, a really strong team fight of their own.
All right, resetting things. GRX figures out where to go next. Obviously, it's a little pressure towards top, but how much can PK do on the bottom? He can kill fabFabulous once again, which probably won't happen this healthy. GRX has the top of the map. They know how to use an advantage. That's what SuperMassive is trying to stave off, is any mistakes here. Obviously, having to give up the top turret for this, and GRX may be able to open up the map enough just off of that. We'll have to see how SuperMassive responds.
You have to remember, Stomaged still has that Rift Herald available.
It's a great
about a third of that time left. You really want to see them set up a play to drop that, because you know, just kind of using the on timer really feels bad. It's kind of a waste if the team is prepared for it. So setting up here around the Baron a little bit, trying to get some vision back and forth, but I would like to see them put some emphasis on getting that out. Look to pressure up a lane, drop that down, maybe even on the bottom side with double tanks, because there's not a lot of time remaining on it.
Yes, it is ticking out right now. It's past 3 quarters.
It's just such a waste of your time to get that Rift Herald if you're not going to at least put one down that threatens a turret.
Go top, go mid, second tier mid. Second tier mid might just get taken down. Actually, not too much defense coming from GRX. And this is going to be an interesting one. Looks like they may just hold it for top side where Zeitnot is here. Stomaged is going to try to run up. I think, let's not call it. We don't know what's going on inside his brain.
Yeah, he may have lost track of the timer, but he may also
back
just
and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Where are you going? Where are you going? He just wants to go fast.
Well, he's on his shrine. He is going fast. I think he's just
so
going to go drop.
fast.
He's going to just drop it now. Okay. So he's going to drop it now. He could look to drop it top and then try to use that to create a play elsewhere, but they're instead going to move 4 members top. They will summon up the Rift Herald, so they should get the charge, and the turret was really down to the wire, but they do execute on a Rift Herald charge here, keeping Shelly healthy, so
I like it.
they can try to walk it into this tier 2 and at least get a charge off on the tier 2. Would be nice to see them do that.
Buying a little bit of time for everyone to get there. And a nice second charge from Shelly.
Coming behind.
Quickness goes in, and that's 2 members down. It's going to be Stitch getting hit up real hard. Koala's only living for a little bit longer on this one as a double kill comes through for Zeitnot. It's going to be a hit out on 2. That's the jungler. No, Candy is going to get himself taken down to possible Pentakill now coming in here for Stitch. PK's the next one to get hit. There's the quadra kill. Empties in the eyes of fabFabulous, but he turns around before he can get the crowd control in. And they don't want it. Just a turret next to come up. In a flurry of a fight, a quadra kill for Zeitnot.
And they're going to get the Baron off that as well. What a huge swing in the game. SuperMassive pull the trigger and get so much off that play. They took down Stitch before he could use the flash, before he could use the ultimate, and GRX try to commit to the fight afterwards anyway and just get absolutely destroyed and now empty. Very slim chances of getting in for this Baron. Snowflower is here to zone him away.
Is that the entrance? I was going to say the inside the park Penta. Give it to him just a little bit later. So Baron now going over in favor of SuperMassive. And we'll see how this one was activated once again.
So watch Stitch here. There it is. The engage from Raknan, the shockwave to follow it up, and Stitch just gets erased there so hard to react. And then GRX still feel that they can actually commit to the play. PK not able to catch anyone with the Ornn ultimate, and Zeitnot a beautiful ultimate over to the right side, focusing down Cassio. Once the Cassio falls, no chance in that fight to follow it up, and look at the coaches pumped up there. They know that is such a big moment in the game. A quadra kill on your most important member, 2 turrets in the top side, and the Baron.
Absolutely insane. Eyes on Zeitnot for the next fight, as well as Koala, that crowd control that can get back to him. We'll definitely have to do a bit of fight tracking with Snowflower being able to dive in and everybody wanting that Kaisa. Look at the damage he was able to put out last fight. And he was heavily targeted by that first pulverize. Yeah, Stitch, 0. It's not what you want to see. Stomaged getting knocked back, almost drunk under the table on that one by the explosive cast. Zeitnot's on the bottom of the fight. He starts off real quick with 1. Stitch forced to back out. There's the double kill already as Zeitnot continues to pile it on. The shock and off from SuperMassive is just too much for GRX. fabFabulous not stopping for the turret this time. There's the quadra. Oh my God, the quadra into a penta for Zeitnot.
What a magnet, Zeitnot. They don't even have a tier 1 turret in bot lane, Riv. They're fighting at the inhibitor, getting a pentakill, 9-0 on the Kaisa. Complete dominance here in the team fight stage from SuperMassive. They're going to be able to get an inhibitor here as well to boot.
9,000 gold lead now coming in favor of SuperMassive as they take down the first inhibitor of the game. The last 7 minutes have been incredibly explosive, and SuperMassive have been riding the wave.
What a dream game here for Zeitnot. The adrenaline has got to be pumping for him after those last 2 team fights. Completely taking over. Diving deep in that one, right into the back line, pushing Stitch out. And it's behind the tier 1. They were diving the tier 2 with the tier 1 still alive. They didn't even care.
One more time. Let's do it.
And this is a great ult from Empty, actually starting it off for the Gragas. He separates a couple members here, pulls them in here saying, hey, this is looking pretty good, but the re-engage from Snowflower was brilliant, and then Zeitnot into the back line just destroys Empty, zones out Stitch, is able to take down PK coming out of this, and really his positioning here was very good when fabFabulous is moving forward, taking up the turret. He says, all right, let's go for it. Flashes forward, hits the Quadra, secures the Penta there. And what an incredible fight from Zeitnot.
Oh, calm, cool, collected. Look, they're like, are you serious? Deja vu!
Yeah.
Let's go! SuperMassive is pumped, as they should be. Coming into this game, a lot of people would feel that they were the underdogs against GRX from the LMS, but the TCL is showing up.
Yeah, they really are, and I'm so impressed by the adaptations they had made in draft. I think they have built this composition so extremely well to play around Zeitnot in the teamfight stage. They have arrived at the teamfight stage. That is their strength, as they have shown really throughout the play-in, and this is going to be a really long road to come back for GRX. If they are looking to come back in this game, down 11,000 gold pre-30 minutes, with this Kaisa up an item and a half over Stitch. It's just so hard to really see how they win a team fight without Zeitnot making a massive mistake and dying instantly.
You know, Azael, we came into this match saying SuperMassive was kind of an unknown territory. They only know how to really win from being in the lead at the beginning of the game. Coming from behind was not something they had to do in the TCL, but here they've been able to play so reactively and then put the game on their foot and figure out what they needed to do. Everybody to the bot lane now. This is it. Map's objective free. They only have one inhibitor on the top side to take down after this, and Koala and the team have to put up a huge defense.
Yeah, looking to push in here past that miasma is a little bit difficult, so SuperMassive need to be patient, but in they go!
Featherstorm immediately. That's going to be the Ornn going out. fabFabulous and Stomaged into the middle of the fight. They could be going down. Snowflower's into the middle and pops up the rest of GRX. Health bars are dropping as Empty goes first. Koala's going to fall next as another kill comes through for Zeitnot. He'll pick up another triple. Pile them on, baby. 16-3 at 30 minutes in. And SuperMassive is going to sweep the rug out from under GRX in game 1. And we're going to game 2. How can they respond?
12-0-1 for Zeitnot. What an insane carry performance here on that Kaisa. And GRX looking a little bit shaken after that one. Definitely not the game 1 they were expecting to have happen. Was a strong early game for them. Solo kill in the top lane. They win the skirmishes around mid lane. But those team fights were so explosive, so on point for SuperMassive that the game went from being dead even to blown wide open, completely over in a matter of minutes.
That was one of those games where everybody for SuperMassive was on the same page, knowing, yeah, early game may have went a little awry, but if we follow each other into those fights late game, man, it's going to work out. And you know what? They played their cards very right. For more on how game 1 went, the way of SuperMassive, let's send it off to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. SuperMassive beamed by us as the underdogs in this matchup, make an absolute statement in game 1, blowing away GRX, honestly. So let's take a look at the pick and ban. Let's see if we could see any signals of that. Now, the first thing I kind of want to bring up is Kaisa. He does play it.
Yeah, the Kaisa pick was one thing. One of my win conditions for SuperMassive was also the fact that they needed to nullify the solo lane matchups. Tank the top lane, that's great that we got to see out of it. The fact that they banned out Aatrox and Urgot too, so there was no way that PK can try to take over the matchup and try and impact in that way. So you're right, teamfight AD carry, teamfight support, and they nullified the topside matchups. Even though they were at really early deficits, they were able to claw and slow the game down.
Yeah, I mean, it was a day later than we wanted to see SuperMassive learn these lessons, but I guess it was a good thing overall that G2 taught them, do not leave those up for fabFabulous to play skill matchups with. And then they ended up with 2 winning solo laners in terms of matchups, and their bot lane did have to take the brunt of it a little bit because they took the Raknan to split it up, but at the end of the day, it was worth it, obviously, as Snowflower was a monster.
Yeah, we'll leave it in the middle, how they didn't actually, learn those lessons in the tiebreaker because they may have well been here as first seed. However, nothing about that. They make it happen now, and you mentioned it already. Snowflower, he's also our MasterCard player of the game. Look at this first play. And this is when they were behind. He's going to pull the trigger mid to make sure GBM gets a very important kill.
And this is what we needed to see out of him. Get himself out of the bottom lane, set up in the mid lane. Look how long this extends because, of course, he has the flash. To pick apart Candy, you really needed to isolate that matchup because Candy and Empty have been performing incredibly well in the mid lane matchup. And so for him to be able to just break it up the moment he has a window from the bottom side of the map to make that happen, good job to him.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the things that was important because it did feel like in a lot of ways GRX had advantages in the laning phase.
Yes.
We saw some great trading out of Candy to almost solo kill GBM. They were forcing flashes out time and time again. It really felt like for the first 10 minutes, GRX had complete control.
Yeah, so Raz, what does it come down to then? Because GRX in control with strong laners, strong matchups, pushing the tempo the way they want, should be their wheelhouse exactly.
So this is the thing, because ultimately the game's going exactly how we would expect it, where GRX has the stronger solo players, because they had bad matchups topside. And then they ended up coming out ahead. The fact that fabFabulous died solo top lane,
Yeah.
atrocious. The fact that the mid lane matchup was actually 20 CS ahead. The Cassio was 20 CS ahead at 10 minutes. GRX should feel incredibly comfortable around that. But the bottom side, when they were forcing around bottom lane turret without really coordinating for the waves, that's when things started to get slowed down. GRX couldn't find anything. And so they got challenged in the one aspect of the game that we needed to see them on. They were in the weakest group. They got out of it into a best of 5. And so when we challenged them on team fights, around really trying to break the game open when they didn't have these massive early game leads, they fell.
I think that is a great point because we haven't actually seen him in this position, and this is also where I want to turn up the praise for SuperMassive and changing it up and taking control of a game in the mid game. Let's take a look at this next top lane team fight, a 4-for-1 in the end for SuperMassive. They go ham.
Oh, yeah, this is a great engage by Snowflower, but the counter engage was atrocious. Here, Empty should be ulting at any point before the Ornn ult returns. He times it exactly as the Ornn ult returns to split it up and make sure that they have no hope of winning this fight. And this is a huge punish, once again, that actually opens up the Baron buff for the side of SuperMassive.
And here again, I just want to say, we had question marks. What's up with Zeitnot? Why is he not playing Kaisa? We didn't see it yet. Did they then keep it for this? I don't know, but what I do know is that it's freaking strong.
I love the fact that they had the conversation that Zeitnot and Snowflower didn't need the best matchup possible, because best matchup possible in Game 3 on the tiebreaker for G2 meant they were in a utility matchup, Ashe. So the fact that they moved away from that and relied on the top side to really slow the game down, I liked it, and it worked well, obviously.
Yeah, I loved it also out of Zeitnot. He said, as we will see in this next replay, GRX are your favorites. Well, look at this. Here's a pentakill to chew on.
And it's all set up by the fact they have a great front line. They're not playing bruisers or anything like that. They have multiple forms of engage, ways to lock up the front line. So when he goes in on the Kaisa, he can start free hitting people. And he's always just hitting closest target. PK is the next one, force Stitch out of the fight. And eventually, as they finish these people off, GRX doesn't respect how far forward they can keep going. Fab on the tank, able to actually set up the next 2 kills.
This great teamfight IQ from Zeitnot, because when he placed himself in the fight, is isolating the Xayah. She has no way to partake in the fight, so she's already zoned out, which was a great engage by GRX to start with, but there's no way now you take down Kaisa. Snowflower had already set up the team fight for success, so I thought that seems like if you don't punish the dual lane matchup with the stronger bottom lane, where now Snowflower and Zeitnot have the Kaisa and the Raknan, then you need to try and draft around team fighting or try and actually execute on these bottom lane fights that they weren't working out on.
All right, so as we look forward, since you had the win conditions for GRX, Mark, as Raz aptly brought up, they haven't been in this position yet. In actuality, every game they've played, they've kind of rolled over their opponents to lesser or more degree. So what will they do to the momentum and the mentality of GRX, and how do they come back?
There's 2 things I'm looking at. One, like we said, the fact that the early game actually looked fantastic for GRX the first 10 minutes. They didn't pick up as many kills as it looked like were on the table, and I'd like to see them clean that up a little bit. It could be a little bit of nerves, like, this is a huge moment for them to actually get out of this, and so maybe they were a little gun shy. The other thing is I'm wondering how important red side will be in this series, because we saw in the EDG one, people actually preferred the counter pick, and the fact that both their solo lanes had losing matchups and were doing okay, I wonder what they can do if they can get some counter picks in there as well.
Yeah, well, great stuff from SuperMassive coming out with a victory in Game 1. The TCL champions are en route to win this best of 5, possibly. We'll have to see if GRX can shake it off and tie up the series when we return.